Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. What's up, gym bros? Big Paul here today. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a ginormous open class pro bodybuilder. You want to look like Nick Walker. You want to be the freak. You want to look like Samson Dowda, who just won the Arnold Classic. You want to get gigantic like those guys. I'm going to talk about what it takes. We'll talk about training. We'll talk about diet. We'll talk about those things we call steroids and how to use PEDs to get exotically huge. We're going to dig into all of it in just 1 second. All right, so first things first. You want to get huge. You decided to take the leap. You want to be a pro bodybuilder. You want to be on that Olympia stage. You want to look like the biggest freaks on the planet. How long does that really take? A lot of people think they can do it. They're just one cycle away. They're just one push from keeping their diet clean away from being a pro bodybuilder. That is unfortunately not true unless you have some sort of freakazoid genetics, which 99.9% of human beings do not. We'll take a look at a guy like Nick Walker. Nick Walker is a perfect example of somebody who used hard work to push themselves up to the pro level. Nick, when he was young, when he first started out, did not have what I would consider pro level genetics. If you look at his physique, I'll pop a picture up here. What Nick looked like when he was first starting out. But you can look here, you can see that Nick did not look like he had what it took to be a pro bodybuilder. But Nick worked his ass off and got to that level. It took him something like 7 or 8 years to get his pro card, and something like 10 years to get to the size that he is now. And he's put on roughly 100 pounds of stage weight in about a 10-year time frame. And that's one of the best progresses that we've seen from a human being on the face of the planet when it comes to bodybuilding. Maybe Big Ramy, maybe Dorian Yates. I don't know if you go back and look at these guys, but that's something like 10 pounds a year. Now, granted, it's not linear like that. It was probably 20 pounds his first year, 15 his second, 10, then 8, then 7, then 5. It tends to slow down as you get further along your journey. There's these big jumps in weight that you have. Usually when you first start training, when you come in, you're a natty, you'll have a big jump. Then when you first figure out how to clean up your diet, then you'll have another big jump in muscle mass. Then when you first take steroid cycle, your first cycle, you're going to have a big jump. But after these initial jumps, you have to really pay attention to detail to continue to grow. And it takes a serious amount of dedication. So we've established that the hardest working bodybuilder on the planet, it took him something like 7 to 8 years to go from that to get his pro card. So I don't know what the average is, but I have heard from people that work on the pro level and talking to other coaches that it's somewhere from start to finish, something like 10 years. Usually guys are on PEDs for at least 5 years or more, probably more, before they ever even sniff a national level show or competing at a national level show. It's probably more like 10 years if you're going to be realistic about it. So thinking about this, we have to budget a 10-year time frame and build our plan out for a 10-year time frame to go from just regular gym bro to being a pro level bodybuilder. Most people do not have the patience or the dedication to stick something out that long. A 10-year time period. The younger you are, the younger you get started, probably the easier it's going to be. It's just the way it is. If you're starting at 40 years old, you're probably not going to have as easy of a road. Next, the diet. How are we going to eat? We need to turn our body into a food processing machine, and this takes time. Everything in bodybuilding is progressive. Your PEDs are progressive, your food are progressive, your training is progressive. We need to progressively improve in each of those areas. And nutrition is no different. So we need to progressively increase our food and turn our body into a food processing machine. So the ultimate goal with bodybuilding is to eat as much food as we possibly can, process it as efficiently as we can without getting fat and while adding muscle. This takes time. Your body doesn't adapt to this style of eating overnight. Now, I will say when I work with people, the quickest change I can make, it's not PEDs that transforms people. It is getting them on a intelligent and focused diet. If I can get people to get themselves dedicated to a diet plan, they overnight see changes. More so than any PED cycle will make someone change. I know people won't believe this, but it's just the facts about it. You look at a guy like Nick Walker, and I know people are going to say, well, he must cheat here and there. Of course, the guy has cheat meals here and there. But you talk to any pro bodybuilder, a guy like Nick, they bring their food with them everywhere. Almost every meal is weighed and measured. Last year, when I made my crazy progress, when I put on that 50 pounds of stage weight in a year, I weighed and measured every single meal I ate and hit my macros for an entire year straight. I probably had maybe 5 deviations, a missed meal or an off-schedule cheat meal in there during that year period of time. I was damn near perfect, and that's when I had my best progress. There is no coincidence there. So we need to slowly ratchet up our food. We need to learn how to eat. We need to eat 5 to 6 times per day. We need to eat clean, whole foods and progressively get that up. To get to a certain size, you have to eat more. And that's another thing that I see where guys are totally screwing up. I get clients that come to me all the time, Paul, I haven't grown. I haven't made any progress. I'm not growing. It's almost always the food. They think more PEDs is the answer. But if you're not bringing bricks to the construction site to build the house, it doesn't matter how many workers you have there to build the house with. The steroids are like the workers. They're just laying the bricks for you. So it doesn't really matter how many workers you have on site if you don't have enough bricks to build the house with. You're just wasting your time. So we need to progressively increase our food, keep pushing it up, find out where the limits are, where we're getting fat, then pull back, then push up, then pull back, then push up, and reconfigure our body to be a food processing machine over this time period. And if you want to be a 240-pound bodybuilder and you weigh 220, you're going to have to eat like a 240-pound bodybuilder. If you want to be 260 pounds and you're 240, you got to eat like you're a 260. If you want to be 280 and you're 260, you got to eat like you're 280. So it's progressively eating more food. Now, if you just come out of the gate, I see guys do this all the time. They think the dirty bulk is the answer. All the dirty bulk is eating a bunch of shit calories is just going to make you fat. You have to progressively increase clean, whole foods. Sitting around eating donuts and eating fast food all day long is not the answer. So training, moving on to the training component. Everybody talks about training. There's, this training, that training, blah, 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 blah for bodybuilding. We can look at the pros on the stage and get a good idea of what sort of training works the best. We look at all the pros and see how they train. They all have some things in common. First and foremost, they don't train like powerlifters. They don't train like CrossFitters. They don't train like Olympic lifters. They don't worry about the clean and jerk or doing snatches or setting world records on the leg press. They lift like bodybuilders. Learn how to lift like a bodybuilder. Control the movement, feel the muscle, stimulate the muscle, lift like a bodybuilder. Once you figure that out, everything is progressive. You progressively get stronger within the constraints of good form for bodybuilding. That's how you get huge in bodybuilding. It doesn't matter if it's high volume or if it's low volume or if it's this or that. Progressively getting stronger and lifting like a bodybuilder is the key to getting huge. Staying consistent in the gym, not missing time, not missing workouts. If you lift hard for a couple months and then you kind of just disappear and, take a couple weeks off from the gym, then you start back over again and you set yourself back a month, getting yourself back to where you were before you left out, you're not going to progress. You can't progress that way. Learning how to work around injuries, learning how to push through hardships, getting yourself in the gym on the days that you don't feel like training. Those are the days that matter the most. I think I heard Dorian Yates say it. He said, every workout is a good workout. I never had a bad workout in my life. I am laying another brick in the house to build my house every day. My house of bodybuilding, my temple, my castle, whatever you want to call it. So every day in the gym is another brick in that house to build yourself to be a pro bodybuilder. Don't miss time. Train progressively. Train hard. Train with good form. Train with intent. Train like a bodybuilder. Don't get yourself confused. If you try to do everything, if you try to be a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, a CrossFitter, you're going to end up doing none of them very well. If you want to get huge, you have to train with hypertrophy in mind. And last but not least are steroids and PEDs. I'm not going to be one of these guys that tells you they don't work. There are a lot of dudes out there that say, well, they're the least important part of the equation. I don't think they're the least important part of the equation. They're definitely an important part of the equation. I would say nutrition is number one. Probably PEDs and training are right there, neck and neck. I don't know. But for me, nutrition is the top. There are a lot of gym bros that take a lot of steroids that don't look like pro bodybuilders. The big difference is they don't have a structured diet. Bodybuilders eat like bodybuilders. So PEDs are important. And there are some principles to PEDs that will get you huge. First and foremost, don't overcomplicate shit. Taking stuff like mint and DHB and all these weird exotic SARMs and peptides and yada, yada, yada is stuff that gym bros do. Every pro bodybuilder you talk to, their off-season cycle, I have a video up about off-season pro bodybuilder cycles. They're super simple. You know what these guys take? Testosterone, equipoise, nandrolone, primobolan, maybe some growth hormone, and insulin. That's it. IGF-1, maybe, if they can afford it, or find real IGF-1, that might be in the equation, but they don't get overcomplicated with shit. It's very, very basic stuff. I had a video up recently where Nick Walker was talking about his off-season cycle. He runs testosterone, he runs equipoise, he runs nandrolone. That's it. I'm sure there's some insulin and HGH in there, maybe some IGF-1. He didn't talk about that, but that's it. There's no weird exotic compounds for pro bodybuilders in the off season. Only gym bros do that crazy stuff. And another thing you have to keep in mind, we established that it takes a long time to be a pro bodybuilder. If you start running a bunch of toxic shit, a bunch of orals in the off season, a bunch of weird exotic stuff that's probably terrible for you, like DHB, you're going to end up blowing yourself out before you ever get big enough to be a pro bodybuilder. You have to play the long game if you want to be a pro bodybuilder. So I think, just like the other things, you have to progressively increase doses, just like you progressively increase food, just like you progressively increase your training. You progressively increase the PEDs. If you're taking the PEDs that a 300-pound bodybuilder would and you're 180 pounds, you are going to get nothing additional out of it. You slowly work your way up to those doses. More does work, but taking more out of the gate is not better. So you progressively work yourself up from moderate doses up over a period of time to the higher doses, and you have to make it so you last. If you blow your health out, if you're sick, if your kidneys are screwed, if your liver is unhealthy, if you end up making yourself sick, and after a couple years of doing this, doing stupid mass blasts, things like that, that you're going to blow yourself out and make yourself unhealthy, you're not going to last long enough to be a pro. Or you see it all the time, these guys that throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, they get a pro card, and then they never compete on the pro level. So what's the point of getting to that point if you can't compete and earn money from it? You can't be a competitive pro and make money from it. I don't understand that. That makes zero sense to me. So keep the compounds basic. Stick with simple stuff. A testosterone base, your favorite anabolic, growth hormone, and insulin. If you can't get big off of that, I don't know what to tell you. You're never going to get big. All right, so summing this all up, it's really super simple if you want to get massive. First and foremost, you have to stay dedicated to it. You have to be consistent. You have to be in the gym. You have to be consistent with your food. You have to be consistent with your PEDs and be wise with your PEDs. You have to build out a long-term plan and be patient. So many young guys are impatient. They want to shortcut things. They don't see progress from week to week and they give up, or they switch coaches, or they, change their compounds, or they change their workout routine. If you don't stay dedicated to something long enough to see results, you're never going to progress. The people that are constantly changing never make progress. They never make progress. So you have to keep things simple, stick to your plan, be dedicated to that plan, progressively improve when it comes to diet, progressively improve when it comes to training, progressively improve when it comes to your PED protocol. Push things, but not to the point of where you're making yourself unhealthy. You have to last long enough to make it to that size. If you make yourself sick, you're not going to get there. And really, it is that simple. It's just rinse, wash, repeat, and do the boring stuff every single day. It's eating food, not missing meals. It's not missing the gym. It's training hard. It's just keeping things simple and boring. Find a coach. Stick with that coach for a period of time, a couple years. 2 months is not enough time to evaluate progress. It really isn't. Year to year is probably a better marker for evaluating progress. All right, guys. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about getting huge like a pro bodybuilder. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching my channel. I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, First Detachment Nutrition. Without them, none of this would be possible. If you want to support me, support them. Use the code AB10 at checkout at First Detachment. They make high quality products. It's the man himself, Justin Harris, who formulated them. Go check them out. Rock on, guys. Thanks. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.